Hi, Storyworks readers. I'm Lauren Tarshis, and I'm so excited to take you behind the scenes of my latest article, Swarms of Terror. It's the story of massive swarms of grasshoppers that attacked America's prairie in the late 1800s, devouring everything in their paths. For decades, this particular species of grasshopper, the Rocky Mountain locust, made life miserable for families living on America's prairie. Then suddenly, in the 1890s, the Rocky Mountain locust went extinct. In the years since, this strange and devastating disaster has been mostly forgotten. I had actually really never heard about it until I started researching my latest I Survived book on the children's blizzard, a terrible snowstorm that hit America's prairie in 1888. In my reading, I came across mentions of another kind of storm, a storm of swarming, hungry locusts. These flying pests plagued western states like North and South Dakota, Minnesota, Nebraska, and Kansas throughout the late 1800s. Year after year, they swooped in by the billions and billions, gobbling up crops, food, and even clothing. Thousands of pioneers lost everything they owned. The largest swarm, which struck in 1875, was a staggering 1,800 miles long as the entire east coast of the United States. I knew right away that I had to tell you this terrifying and little-known catastrophe. As I do for every article and book that I write, I began by diving into research. I read these books. I pored over dozens of articles. I even spoke with a locust expert, Dr. Jeffrey Lockwood, who helped me understand the science behind the Rocky Mountain locust attacks. I soon had a complete picture of when, where, and why these insects struck. But there was one big missing piece of the puzzle. I needed to know exactly what it was like to experience the raging swarms of grasshoppers. What did they look like, feel like, sound like, smell like? To answer these questions, I turned to primary sources. These are materials created by people who lived in a particular time period. I combed through diaries, letters, and memoirs written by people who had suffered through the swarms. One person remembered how the massive bugs looked like a moving gray-green screen between the sun and the earth. Another compared the sound they made to the roaring and crackling of a vicious wildfire. And another said that when they descended on the land, they were like a dark, living carpet, moving and eating everything. Reading through all these memories, I felt like I was no longer sitting at my desk in Connecticut. I was on the prairie, caught in a swirling vortex of bugs. I could see them whipping down from the sky, feel them crawling all over my skin, hear their mad whirs and clicks. I knew that I wanted you to have the same experience when you read my article. I wanted to pack my article with vivid, descriptive details. These details had to be specific enough to help you truly understand the sights, sounds, smells, and sensations of the grasshopper swarms. For example, I could have just described the grasshoppers as creepy looking, but that wouldn't have really helped you picture them in your mind. So I thought to myself, what exactly did they really look like? Finally, I came up with this: greenish brown, an inch long, with spindly, creeping legs and huge, bulging eyes. Can you picture them now? Or I could have written, the locusts made loud noises when they arrived. You might have wondered, what kind of noises? So instead I wrote, eerie sounds echoed through the air. Whir, click, 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 buzz, It sounded like thousands of giant scissors snipping away at the sky. Can you hear that? Finally, I could have just written, "The dead grasshoppers smelled really bad." But I knew that that wouldn't even begin to convey just how powerfully stinky those bugs were. So I came up with this. Their corpses gave off a stomach-turning stench. It lingered for weeks, hanging over towns like a reeking fog. Yuck. These kinds of detail-packed sentences are not easy to write. In fact, I'm actually very embarrassed to tell you how long I spend crafting and revising each one. But I really do encourage you to practice these kinds of sentences in your own writing. Think about exactly what you want to describe. Then work to craft specific details that will fire up your reader's imagination. Because when you include those rich descriptive details in a piece of writing, you aren't just telling readers about something that happened. You're sharing a powerful experience with them. You're transporting them to a new time and space. I really hope that you enjoyed your trip to the grasshopper attacks of the 1800s. It was such a memorable experience for me, and I hope it was for you too.